Good afternoon.
Afternoon, attorney.
Hmm. Wait, let me fix this first. Yeah, I did that. Okay. To continue where we left off, the case of fitness by design, this involves a former accountant. Kaya be careful when you change accountant. You make sure that your accountants will not betray you. Diba? So ito, ang ginawa ng accountant is nak-photocopy siya ng mga resibo nung kumpanya tapos versus what was actually paid to the government. So may comparison siya. Okay. The documents were obtained by the accountant without permission. So following the poisonous tree theory, dapat hindi rin pwedeng gamitin. Yan ang gusto ng taxpayer sabihin. Ano yan ninakaw yung dokumento sa amin eh. Bakit pa namin siya papayagan na mag-ano? 'Di ba? Bakit pa namin siyang papayagan na mag case against us? Kasi ninakaw yan eh. Okay. The court said two things which may be useful to you in the future. Number one, the fact that the accountant did not obtain permission does not make the document illegal, because the document, the bills of rights, bill of rights cover the action of the government. Hindi BIR ang nagnakaw ng dokumento without search warrant. Okay. Yes? And number two is the BIR is authorized anyway to obtain to subpoena these documents. So why would the invalidate the tax assessment? Okay? Do you have a hang of what we're discussing now with the remedies? Remedies is pag hindi ka nagbayad ng totoo, anong gagawin ng gobyerno? Pag hinabol ka ng gobyerno, anong gagawin mo? Ito yung pinag-usapan natin for today's last session. Okay. That's why this case is also consistent with other jurisprudence. In the case of People versus Marty, in People versus Marty, ang nangyari is nagpadala siya ng drugs through courier. Oh, yan, di ba? Itong courier, pinaamoy sa aso. So, ang nangyari is parang Air 21 eh. So, DHL, ang ginawa ng DHL, inopen yung bag. Tapos they found it to be containing illegal drugs. So pinatawag niya si Marty. Pinatawag din ng police. Dumating yung police, hinuli si Marty. Sabi ni Marty, illegal search yan. You did not obtain a search warrant. You cannot search my possession. Okay. Ang sabi ng court, the illegal search, if at all it is illegal, was done by DHL, not by the government. And DHL just simply pass it on to the government. So hindi dapat habulin, hindi illegal yung kasi tinurn over nung DHL as the lawful courier, registered courier of the government. To turn it over to the government, wala siyang dapat na obligasyon. So yun ang nangyari. In a more recent case, this involves a teacher who apparently asked a student to post in lewd pictures. Kasi daw magbo-boyfriend girlfriend naman daw sila. Itong babae tanga-tanga na post. Okay. Ang ginawa ng mother is hiningi yung password kasi the girl deleted her files na. So ang ginawa nung mother, sabi niya mother sa bata, hingin mo yung password nung kabila, nung yung teacher. So yung teacher naman, tanga-tanga, binigay rin doon sa babae. So itong babae, binigay sa mom niya. Itong mom niya, nak-report siya sa NBI. Okay? For anti-voyeurism law, violation of anti-voyeurism law, violation of cybercrime, violation of child abuse. Okay. Hinuli ni NBI itong tao na to. Sabi ng tao, wait, NBI. Data privacy ko yan eh. Account ko yan eh. Hindi ka kumuha ng permission sa akin. How could you now convict me of the criminal violation? The court said, hindi gobyerno ang nag-violate ng rights mo. Ang nag-violate ng right mo, yung babaeng supposedly girlfriend mo. Kasi tinanong sa'yo yung password. Binigay mo yung password. Yung password, binigay niya sa nanay. Yung nanay, binigay sa NBI. Mayroon bang participation yung NBI sa illegal activity? Wala. So, the document or the information received is a valid exercise of police power na. Hindi siya illegal search. Okay? Same with this information. Okay? Any question? Yan, namimiss ko tuloy si Rodriguez. Saan si Rodriguez? Buhay ka ba, Rodriguez? Wala. Absent, Rodriguez? Okay. Yes, Mr. Gargantiel.
So I actually have a question regarding yung sa story mo about Kim Inares and how yung binilang yung mga kotse. Is that considered assessment?
No, that is not assessment. That is just investigation. Data gathering lang siya. Yun yung yun yung parang ginagawa niya, nilistan niya yung mga tao, tapos pinicture niya yung kotse, tapos yung tao, tapos verify niya.
So parang di kailangan na inform ng tao or like any warrant for
Hindi.
investigation.
Kasi ang ginawa niya is yung top plate number na yan ang inano niya, binalik niya, inano niya sa yung sa LTO. So ano siya, parang detective work siya.
Okay.
That's why
Got
it
it,
gives the BIR a white latitude.
What, sorry?
It gives the BIR a wide latitude of how to go about this remedy.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Now, what if may nahanap kayo? Okay? May nahanap, napansin yung BIR. Okay. There are two ways for the BIR to go after you. The first procedure is normal is to send you a preliminary assessment notice. A preliminary assessment notice will tell you, oy, we found this following error, ganyan. You should pay. Okay. Exception to the PAN, kung kailan hindi pwedeng is mathematical error. Diba? Mathematical error. 1 million ang income mo, 20% is 200,000. Dineclare mo doon 20,000. Yun ang ginawa niyo sa quiz last time. Mga mali niyo. Oh, anong mali yan? Mathematical error. Nagkamali kayo ng pindot ng calculator. In that case, there is no need to PAN. They will just send you a notice. Now, mayroon kang mali. Okay. Tax withheld versus tax remitted. Diba? Yun yung mga ganyang discrepancy. You withheld. You claim to have withheld 200,000. Pero na-remit mo sa government is only 180. Then, so these are ministerial. You notice exception to PAN, these are the ministerial errors. Okay. Okay. So nakikiyan yung okay. Let me skip to this issue, another issue. If the government decides to go after you with the tax collection, ang dapat niyang gawin is magsasend siya ng LOA, tapos PAN. Okay. This is the latest case. Ay, nako. Ay. The latest case is the case of Dr. Mendez. Ano nangyari dito? Bakit wala akong... Okay. Ito. Si Dr. Mendez, Joel Mendez, is a noted plastic surgeon. Ano niya, karango niya si Vicky Bello. Okay. Why is this case important? This case is important because Joel Mendez was convicted of the crime of tax evasion. Tapos, sabi niya, wait, hindi pwede mo akong kulungin ng tax evasion kasi hindi mo ako pinadalhan ng PAN. PAN. Wala kang preliminary assessment notice. Okay. The Supreme Court said, wait, mali ka. Kasi in this case, ang ginawa ng gobyerno, ng BIR, is, tingnan mo yung kaso. Yung kaso niya, 2002, 2003. Tapos, kailan siya nahuli? Nasaan siya yung date? This is the case, this was the case during the time of Kim Henares rin. 2011. 2011. O yan, 2011. Panahon ni Kim Henares na naman. Sabi ko sa inyo, mabuti kayo. Hindi na maabutan si Kim Henares. Okay. Anong mayroon kay Kim Henares? Anong mayroon kay Mendez? Anong nangyari kay Mendez is hindi siya na bigyan ng preliminary assessment notice. So yan ang point niya. Hindi mo ako binigyan ng notice, hindi ako liable for the tax. Di ba? Yun yung palagi nating paulit-ulit na sinasabi. Okay. Sabi ng Supreme Court, no. In this case, ang ginawa sa iyo ng BIR ni Kim Henares was diniretso ka as criminal liability. So, what was filed against him was not a case of civil collection of taxes, but a case of criminal tax evasion. Kaya ang sentence sa kanya, 2-year imprisonment, penalty of I think 100,000 lang ata o 10,000, plus liability of around 2 million plus. Okay. Sabi niya, how can I know my tax, mayroon akong utang na tax kung hindi ako binigyan ng assessment? Sabi ng court, in this case, ang ginawa ng BIR sa'yo is verify yung mga acquisitions mo. So, tingnan mo. In 2003, the BIR was able to find that he spent a large amount of money. Can you see the article or is it too small?
So it's visible naman.
Visible naman, oh. Anyway, I sent you for I posted the story in my Facebook page, not because I'm anti-Mendez or pro Bello, but this is an instructive case on the tax remedy. So ano nangyari dito? Ginawa ng BIR is binaliktad siya. Okay. For you to be able to spend, you must have the source of income. Okay. If your declared income is only 1 million, saan ka kumuha ng pera panggasto sa rental, sa advertisement, sa purchase of vehicle, sa foreign travel? Kaya parang yung sinasabi nila Ombudsman Gutierrez dati, Ombudsman, what's her name now? The girl, Ombudsman Carpio. Ombudsman Carpio before, ginawa niya is kinompare yung lifestyle versus the SALN. So in the case of Mendez, sabi na, okay, gumastos ka ng renta, ng advertisement sa TV, sa radyo, ng ilang milyon, diba? And these were reported, properly reported by the newspaper, by the as their income. So, may expense ka. mayroon kang foreign travel, mayroon kang mga luxurious vehicle na binili. All of this means that you would spend I think 2 million plus, more than what you declared as your income. Since you have 2 million expenses that could not be substantiated by your income, the presumption is nandaya ka ng tax. Kaya may criminal liability siya. Gets nyo? Hello? I'm giving you a mindset of how BIR works. Malay nyo, baka after you are finished with law school, you will decide to go to BIR. Oh, yan, ha? Just learn it from me, but don't do it against me. Ha? Baka naman pagdating na naging commissioner kayo na BIR, ang una pa niyong i-target ay ako. And although by then I would be too old to go to jail. I'll be 70 plus. Ano na ako, I will avail of hospital hospital arrest na lang. Okay. Do you understand itong case ni Mendez and how it correlates to what we were discussing? So, if civil liability, if I'm collecting tax from you, I collect based on a procedure, letter of authority, preliminary assessment, and then final assessment. Yun yung discuss natin last week. Pero if I have some problem with you, I have some information from you, I can decide to go directly on criminal case. Diba? Gets nyo? Kaya ang tanong ni Ms. Morante, kailan, ano nangyari? Kailan magiging criminal case? Kailan magiging civil case? Diba? It depends on what the government action takes, what the government decides to take. Hello? Are you still there? May kausap pa ako? Okay. Bakit ako na-cut dito sa kabila? Okay. Anyway. Any question? I will close this story of Mendez na, ha? Hindi na ako na babalikan. Ito yung picture niya. Ito si Dr. Mendez. So first, criminal versus civil. Second, whether if it's civil, you need to have the PAN and the FAN. But even the PAN has exemption. Okay, I already explained to you. Then this one already explained last week. No, yung 15 days. Now, what is included in the FAN is the factual and legal basis of the assessment. Okay. This one I already explained also last time. Previously, only personal service is possible. Now, personal service, registered address, known address, or wherever he may be found. Diba? Kaya tandaan niyo yung kaso ni ano pangalan niya? Manny Pacquiao, di ba? Wherever he may be found. By registered mail to registered or known address. Or by substituted service. Substituted service, yun yung nakapost, tapos nagdyaryo sila. Okay? Hello? These are I think we discussed this already last time. Okay. In the case of Pascor Realty, ang issue naman dito is pinadalan nga sila ng notice of assessment. Okay? So may assessment sila. Pero the assessment just basically computes tax liability. You will find that the yung kalaban nyo, the percentage is 6%. Kayo, ang net income mo is only 1%. It's yung mga ganun. So, may mga numbers siya. May mga numbers. Pero, wala siyang tax liability mo. Okay? Yung exact details. Therefore, ang mangyari is hindi siya preliminary assessment notice. Definitely not final assessment. Okay? So ito yung example natin kanina. Criminal complaint for tax evasion is not an assessment. Okay? It merely files a criminal case. So at the worst is dapat kulong ka lang. Okay. But deemed instituted yung civil action. Once na na-proven yung criminal case mo with the guilty beyond reasonable doubt, then you will now have to settle your tax liability. Otherwise, you cannot get out of jail. Once an assessment has been made, then the burden now shifts to the taxpayer. So, sinabi sa'yo, utang mo sa gobyerno is let's say 50 million. Ikaw ngayon, as taxpayer, will be the one to dispute na, hindi, mali yan. Paano akong 50 million, nagbayad na ako ng ganyan. So, ito yung matitira. Okay. So, ikaw yung magdi-dispute, ikaw yung magsasapit ng ebidensya. Okay. However, the assessment must be based on actual facts. Bakit? In this case ni Benipayo is the judge of the Manila. Ang nangyari dito is there was a theater. Tapos sabi nila, normally, diba, children is half price eh. Children is half price. So normally, 3 adult brings 1 child. Bakit daw itong movie house, ang rule niya, ang ginawa niya is baliktad. 1 adult brings 3 children. So kung husband and wife ang nagdala, ibig sabihin nun 6 yung niya, 6 yung anak nila. Diba? Doesn't make sense. Sabi ng BIR. Therefore, there must be tax evasion. So itong mga children's ticket, baka fake yan, hindi totoo children. Okay. In this case, the commissioner, Judge Benipayo of Manila ruled in favor of the movie houses. Sabi niya, paano ka magkakaroon ng assessment without basis. Because there's lack of factual basis for you to say na dati 3:1, ngayon 1:3. Oh. Eh kung mas maraming anak yung mga pumapasok, or baka naman yung movie ngayon puro mga Disney movie, mga Marvel comics, eh siyempre mga bata ang manonood, walang manonood na matanda, di ba? Kung puro Vic Soto ang yung Enteng Kabisote, di siyempre mga bata lang manonood, di ba matatanda, matutulog lang somewhere else. So not legal basis to assess. Okay? Clear? Any question? Okay. Wala ah. Once the government decides that you have already taxes, tax liability, the government has two remedy. First one is diretso na nila i-hold yung mga property mo. I-hold nila yung property mo. So ano ibig sabihin ng hold nila yung property mo? Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina sa inyo na pwede niyang mag-garnish yung mga bank account mo. Garnishment of bank account. Or when you are trying to sell your property, hindi ka nila bibigyan ng certificate authorizing registration hanggang hindi mo binabayaran yung mga utang mo. That is the administrative collection. They can also do a judicial collection by filing civil action for collection. Diretso na. Okay. And then ask the court to freeze your account. Kaya yan ang nangyari kay Manny Pacquiao. Once na natapos na yung kanyang once na nag-ano na yung case against him, natapos na yung sa preliminary assessment lang ha, final assessment pala, sorry. FAN, F-A-N, FAN, the BIR immediately ordered his house to be levied. That's why ang mangyari is Manny Pacquiao had to file case with the Supreme Court. Now, ito yung sinasabi ko na style ni Kim Henares. Okay? Kim Henares likes to use run after tax evader rate. And when she runs after tax evader, ang ginagawa niya, hindi na siya diretso na fan, etc. Diretso, gusto niya, criminal case na kagad. Kulong na. To force you to pay taxes. So, whether magbayad ka o hindi, that's another story. Pero, the issue of collection of taxes is now hinging on your imprisonment. Kaya mas mabilis nakakolekta sila kesa sa fan kasi pag kinulong ka, okay na, panalo ka na. Kasi yung mga tao minsan kesa i-dispute, magbayad na lang para ma-drop yung case. Okay? Now, one of the questions sa final exam will be, what if you have a liability of 1 million, for example, and you don't pay the 1 million? anong magiging penalty mo? Okay. Now, the issue becomes question of, is there tax evasion or hindi? If hindi siya tax evasion, if there's no attempt to evade tax, nakamali lang or something, like yung kanina sabi ko, multiplication, nakamali ng mathematical computation, in that case, the tax penalty is 25%. Okay? If, however, there is willful attempt to evade tax, then taxpayer, it means that the taxpayer knows that this is legally due. There's intent, may evilness, may bad faith, deliberate. In that case, the penalty is 50%. Okay? Yes? So for example, 1 million siya. Ang tanong, is this willful evasion or mathematical error? Or error lang? Okay, wag na lang ano. Oh. Okay. If this is willful evasion, the penalty is if error lang siya, okay. So, tax due is 1 million. Your penalty is already 500,000. Okay. Tapos, interest of 12%. Okay. So kung 2020 ang tax, tapos 2023 na ngayon, 3 taon na, ang gagawin mo is i-multiply po siya ng 2 taon. 2021, 2022, 2023. So 3 taon. So total tax liability now is this one plus this one plus okay? You understand? How to compute?
Hi, sir. Can you repeat the part after the 12% interest? So the interest will be based on the tax due and not the penalty, right?
Yes, not the penalty.
Okay, okay.
So, tax due is 1 million. It was due 2020. Okay. January. January. November 20. Okay? Kailan na today? Today is November 2023. So, ilang taon na yan? 3 taon. 3 taon is 12% per year. Okay. Why am I using only latest? Kasi if this were before the train law, before 2018, January 2018, the penalty is 20% per annum. Okay? Gets? Hello? Hmm. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Hindi ko na mahanap ang aking file. Okay. Okay. Again, the key here is yung 50% or 25, alin ang gagamitin? Ang gagamitin ni Tito is dependent on whether it is a willful attempt to evade tax or a common, just a accidental mistake. Okay? Siyempre lahat na tao i-claim accidental mistake na pagdating ng araw, di ba? In the case of People versus Quintanar, willful means voluntary, intentional violation. Okay? So in this case of People versus Quintanar, ang husband niya, siya ay professional. Ang husband niya ang naggagawa ng ITR. So, sabi niya, ay, asawa ko ang may kasalanan, hindi ako. Dapat ikulong niyo yung asawa ko, hindi ako. Ha? Sabi ng court, wait. Ano ka eh? Veterano ka na eh. Experienced businesswoman. Dapat alam mo yung mga taxes mo. Diba? Teka. Hmm. Okay. So you are a businessman, you are aware of your tax liability. Therefore, you cannot blame your husband. Even if you blame your husband, it is still willful tax evasion. Hindi siya error. Hindi siya accident. Aksidente. Okay? So, therefore, it is deliberate conscious act to evade tax. You're subject to liability of 50% and you go to jail. Kaya People versus Quintanar. People, that means criminal action siya, kulong siya. Okay. This case of People versus Quintanar is a 2010 case. Today, I ask you, my dear students of Law 115 U, do you think justified yung decision ng People versus Quintanar? Wala kang masagot. Mhm. Is it fair to assume that all businessmen know their tax liability, their tax obligation, aware of their tax obligation? Therefore, when you do business and you do not pay your proper taxes, you are a deliberate tax evader. No. Who wants to go contrary to People versus Quintanar?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
May I?
you can tell.
I believe it's unfair to automatically assume that all businessmen and women know and understand like everything related to tax. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's also uh pretty much, what's the term? Pretty much a lot of businessmen and women rely on accountants or professionals to handle tax matters. So in a sense, they don't necessarily have a solid understanding of tax regulations, and who can blame them considering the amount of like, not only
What
do
do you
they need to
think?
understand
Yeah, Miss Tomiya, what do you think?
the law, but also how to like.
Sir, I do agree with what Mr. Gargantiel said, because as what he said, not all people who enter into business are very much adept to the technicalities of taxation. That's why most of them, if not all, hire accountants or those tax experts who can file their taxes for them just to ensure that they are really in compliance with the law. So to rule that since you are a businesswoman, you should know this taxes by heart, it would really be unfair. And to add to that, not all business people are also, I would say, very much educated when it comes to taxes. Just to solidify the point, that's why we have the Facebook group, right? Many business people actually ask lawyers or the different tax expert to really ensure that they're following the law. So yeah.
Oh, Miss Sevilla, what do you say?
Attorney, based on our discussion on this last year in Tax 1, I remember kasi na they've been continuously filing it correctly naman, the Quintanars. I think it was just this year na mali. Tapos mali pa yung place where they filed it and the way that they filed it. So I think that it's on them already, because if they have record that they've been doing it correctly for the past few years and then it's only 1 year na they did it wrong, it's supposedly na they know already how the system works, and they should have been more accountable on their end kasi they were already to do it before successfully.
Okay. If that is the case,
So yes,
what is...
if
Go ahead.
so I think business people, it's already a known fact that, for example, like April 15 is a known time where all businesses are like stressed because they have to do it. And so there's already, parang there was no urgency on their end also to immediately make sure that it was accounted for.
Okay.
So
Do you think na if you have already studied tax 1, tax 2, di ba? So if you do business later on and may mali ka, the presumption can be done na you did it willfully na.
not, I mean, in the eyes of the law po, it's willful, but it's also my job as the boss to be accountable for for this big of an affair of the business, because it's a big job to be like the CEO or a business person in general. But compliance with the government, especially taxes, it's once a year na you have to set time to make sure na you're correct. So yes, parang since it's not really sadya, it's more of by omission. If you don't do it by omission, then it's still under the law, it's still willful. I think that's correct, sir.
What do you think, Mr. Gagantel?
It makes sense pa naman, sir. But in that case, parang it really depends on where the person is coming from. Because there are cases where it actually is just genuine error talaga na hindi nila alam. But there are times where they can mask it. Like they can mask it under the guise of an error. So
What
based
if,
on
let's follow the train of thought ni Ms. Sevilla. Every year, tama yung tax mo. This year, may mali ka. So, ibig sabihin nun, hindi mo naayos nung hindi deliberate and willful neglect of duty yan. Tama, Ms. Sevilla, di ba? Yan ang theory mo. Every year, tama siya. Tama yung tax niya eh. This year lang nagkamali. Ibig sabihin nun,
Yes, okay.
alam niya yung ginagawa niya. Bakit pero this year, bakit niya mali?
Yes po.
Diba? Yan. Mr. Gagantel, you agree?
That one, sir, I'm not sure which to side with, considering that anything the person can have any reason as to why inconsistent yung tax returns nila or their payment of taxes. So it really is up to investigation.
Yeah, Ms. Comiya, what do you think?
Well, for me, sir, parang I still consider it as a mistake because you've been filing for several years na tama. And it doesn't make sense na ipa-file mo deliberately ng mali if you're doing things right in the past few years historically. So, for me, sir, I think it's not really willful, but there has been an error or let's just say na may omission na nangyari. May pagkakamali na nangyayari. So, yan.
Okay. The problem with Mr. Villa, you're raising your hand or kanina pa to?
Kanina po. But I can add po. Kasi
yes.
I found more, I remembered na, she relied po kasi on the accountant of her husband, diba? So I think it's also her fault because she wasn't on top of her affairs as an individual person. Like, nirely lang niya lahat sa asawa niya and the accountant. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yes po. That's it.
We're not disputing the issue of tax liability. But is it fair to go to jail for that? Diba? Hindi naman ako yung nag-file. Every year, tama ako. May isang taon lang na nakamali. Tapos, I always rely on my accountant. Mr. Villa.
But diba, attorney, binigyan sila ng madaming parang requests already and notices. So, why did they purposefully ignore that? Kasi diba there's a part in the process where they can dispute naman. But they could have disputed it earlier and just submitted the correct files.
So, in this
the
case,
correct.
they filed a criminal case to. Hindi siya yung pan-fan yan. this is directly criminal case to.
Mm.
Teka.
Shouldn't the accountant also be liable na lang po?
Hmm?
The accountant should be liable
Wala nang
also.
mag-accountant para sa Miss Sevilla. Kung ganyan. Hindi. That's the same thing that we have been saying about the case of Dr. Agbayani before. It depends. You hire your lawyer. You hire your accountant. You live and die with that, with your decision to hire, ano. Kung mayroon naman magaling, hindi ka nag-hire, hinire mo yung mahina, di ba? It's still your responsibility. Yan ang point ng ano. Pero criminally, is it good enough to land him in jail? Okay. My take on this is during that period when the tax system was basically stable, pwede mo sabihin na yung omission niya medyo alam niya yung ginagawa niya, nagpababa siya ng tax that year para lang makatipid siya, di ba? Pero if the tax system is today's system where they change from the National Internal Revenue Code to the train law, then to the create law, and then now with all of the amendments coming out, is it possible that the business people are really confused? Just like you are confused with, di ba, take na kayo ng tax 1. Dapat alam nyo na yung income tax eh. Pero when we took the exam, first quiz, halos lahat kayo baksak. Bakit? Did the law change? No. But the way we interpret the law, the way we compute, hindi rin siya ganyan kalinaw. Okay? Because there has been changes in the law. And then the interpretation of the BIR changed also along the way. Okay. I will not dispute the case of People versus Quintanar. I will instead dispute the case of Judy Ann Santos. Okay. Pansin niyo, 2010 yung isa, 2013 yung isa. In the case of People versus Quintanar, the court said, your action, the action of your accountant is binding on you. Ikaw yung may final judgment eh. Di ba? Tama? Tama? Yun ang position ninyo, di ba? Mr. Villa, di ba? That the accountants action, you are as yours as the CEO, as the company boss, you are the one ultimately liable. So you cannot pass your responsibility to the accountant. But in the case of Judy Ann Santos, ang nangyari is, Judy Ann Santos, no? Sinong hindi nakakaalam ng sinong nakakaalam na lang kay Judy Ann Santos? Raise your hand. Yan, 2, 3, 4. 5. Yan, medyo marami palang kala ko laos na nga siya eh. Meron palang nakakakilala sa kanya. Sige. Anong case ni Judy Ann Santos? In the case of Judy Ann Santos is 4 na movie niya sa Star Cinema. Okay. 4 na movie niya sa Star Cinema. Pero parang 2 lang ang na-report ng accountant niya. Okay. So, in this case, the court said, no. Hindi mo pwedeng ikulong si Judy Ann Santos. Mawawala tayo ng TV series na papanoorin. No. That's not the statement. The decision was, mayroon ng tax evasion. Pero, you cannot presume that it is willful attempt to evade tax kasi the negligence is not equivalent to fraud. In other words, artista siya eh. Hindi naman siya marunong eh. Di ba? Baka hindi pa nga siya umabot ng college. So how can you now presume that she knows what she's doing? So when she signed the tax form na sinapit niya sa BIR, ano siya? Hindi niya alam kung anong ginagawa niya. In other words, artista lang siya. Hindi siya negosyante. Diba? Para masakit. Agree? Disagree? With between people, the decision of People versus Quintanar and People versus Julian Santos. Gawa tayo ng poll o hindi na. Wag na lang. Kasi hindi ko rin alam kung paano dito gagawin. Nawala yung poll dito, no? Sige. Do you agree with the decision of People versus Quintanar and as applied in the case of People versus Julian Santos? If you agree, A. If you don't agree, B. If you don't know, C. Wala, dalawa lang ang nagsagot.
Sir, can you repeat the choices again?
If you agree with the court interpretation in the case of People versus Julian and People versus Quintanar, then you click A. If you don't agree, click B. If you don't know, click C. Okay. 50% agrees. 25% doesn't know. 25% also. Oh, yan. So, madami ng mga nag-agree. Okay. Final na, tapos na tayo, I'll end na. So out of survey, 52% says they agree with the distinction of Quintanar and Julian. 22% said no. There's no distinction between the two. 26%, almost 30% said they don't know. Or they don't understand. Sinong nag-disagree? Sa 5 na nag-disagree. Sige. Who wants to discuss your point of why they disagree? Oh, no one wants to take the Miss Acosta? Oy, Miss Acosta.
Sorry, sir. I chose agree po.
Agree. Bakit ka na-raise ng hand?
Hindi po naka-raise yung hand ko, sir.
Ganyan? Sige, sorry. Ako pala yung na-raise ng hand. Okay. Who else? Wala ba nag-disagree? Na gustong mag-defend ng position niya? If you ask me, I think consistency should be applied to both. So if a businessman makes a mistake and he's liable, if a businessman hires an accountant and the accountant makes a mistake, the businessman is liable. If it's a movie star or even a lawyer or an architect who hires, or artist who hires an accountant and the accountant makes a mistake, he should be similarly liable. Okay. That is the if the movie star is not liable, then the businessman should also not be liable. So long as it is established na may mali is yung ang nakamali is yung accountant, di ba? Kasi ang nangyari kay People versus Judy Ann Santos is 4 na movie. So 4 na withholding tax yan. 2 lang sinubmit. Oh, 'di ba? Tapos inako naman nung accountant na hindi niya nakita kasi nung pinadala sa kanya, kala niya pare-pareho lang. Okay? In any case, it should be intentional. Okay. Ang problema lang kasi sa case natin dito is si Quintanar kinonvict, pero si Judy Ann acquitted. Okay? Okay. In the case of Unjap versus Kusi, this reiterated the same case ni Mendez. Diba? Yung kay Mendez, wala siyang assessment. Sabi ng court, there is no need for assessment because the what the government chose is the case of using criminal case to run after you. Okay? Understand? Now, recently we have a case. Ang nangyari is my client pays tax online. Okay. Diba madalas ngayon makaproblema yung mga bangko? So natakot siya. Ang ginawa niya, hindi siya nagpayat, nag-close account siya dahil sa yung BPI na wala yung mga pera ng mga tapos nadagdagan ng pera or nadagdagan ng zero or something. Okay. Yan ang nangyari sa kliyente ko. So, ang ginawa niya, 700,000 yung tax. Hindi na niya ginamit yung BPI system to pay. He went to BIR to pay. Binayaran niya sa BIR. Okay. But since he's a large taxpayer, ang ginawa ng BIR, wait, you are supposed to pay via online system. Hindi ka nagbayad sa online system, yung pumunta ka sa BIR counter, nagbayad ka doon. So the BIR imposed a 25% penalty on my client. Okay. Nagets nyo? Binayaran niya, 700,000 yung tax, na binayaran naman niya, pero hindi na binayaran sa bangko, online. Binayaran niya sa counter, over the counter. So wala siyang tax liability. Okay. Anyway, this is a new case, so I'm not sure where it will end. But where our position is, nga, may penalty nga na 25% for wrong venue. Pero, the BIR collected the tax. So, nakuha na niya yung pera. Therefore, yung difference lang ang babayaran niya or 25% of zero, which is zero. Diba? Yun ang position namin. Of course, hindi ko sure kung anong gagawin ng BIR for that. But you can imagine, nagbayad ka na, pinapenalty ka pa for using the wrong way of paying. And nagka-problem, that was the time na yung BPI system eh. Yung nadagdagan yung mga amount tapos yung iba na si zero. So ayaw nilang gamitin. Sinarado nila yung account. Imagine to have 700,000 tapos biglang pag ginamit mo, zero na account mo. Now, in terms of the 50%, diba? There is a rule that they're using at the BIR. And that is, if the difference is more than 30% of the tax due, in that case, the presumption is false or fraudulent. So may 50% surcharge ka na. Okay? So kahit na hindi mo ma-prove na false or fraudulent, pero like kanina, di ba sabi ko 200,000 na babayaran, 20,000 lang binayaran mo, there is a difference of more than 30%. In that case, you will be imposed a penalty of 50%. Okay? Okay, let's talk of taxpayer. Remedies of taxpayer. Again, ito yung procedure, di ba? PAN, FAN, then decision. Okay. If the BIR collects tax from you without you getting any PAN or FAN, ang mangyari doon is the full assessment becomes void. It is a consistent ruling of the court. Paulit-ulit yan. Hindi yan nakiiba. So, kailangan siya talagang mayroong makuhang PAN and then FAN. Hindi alternate, but both. Okay? So, even the case of Commissioner of Internal Revenue versus MetroStar, the sending of a PAN without the FAN, a FAN without the PAN. Para tayong nag-ano ng ano tawag dun sa ano yung mga words na ano. A PAN without a FAN without a PAN is void. Okay? So kung wala ka na talagang ano, nahuli ka talaga ng tax, ano gagawin mo? Sa PAN and the FAN. Okay. This is one of the reason why the BIR is now hiring a lot of lawyers. Lawyers na accountant preferably. Pero kung hindi ka accountant, basta lawyer na matino lang, they want because palagi silang natatalo sa kaso kasi hindi sila sumusunod. Ang style ng BIR sa pangaganyan is if you want a dog, ask for a horse. If you want a horse, ask for an elephant. Gets ya? Bakit? Kasi pag sinabi mo sa papa mo, Papa, gusto ko ng doggy. Ano gagawin ng papa mo? Huwag na mag-doggy. Bigyan na lang kita ng isda. Aquarium. Yes, that's what happened to the one who sat beside me last Saturday. Sabi niya, bumili siya ng aquarium. Bakit? Kasi gusto ng anak niya aso. Okay. So, given that knowledge already in negotiation, anong gagawin mo sa papa mo? Papa, gusto kong mga bayo gaya ni Mikey Copangco. Diba? Takbo ako ng mabilis. Magiging ano ako, horse jockey. Sabi ng papa, wag naman, baka matalsik ka ng kabayo, magkaano ka na. Mag-aso ka na lang. Oh, yan, di ba? Gets yung idea ko? So the BII will tell you, 40 million ang utang mo. In reality, they know that it will be around 3 million, 2 million. Pero lalakihan niya yung assessment para matakot ka at tapos pag-compromise ka. Diba? Especially if you don't know your tax well. In the case of Enron, yun yung na-cause ng mga spill somewhere. Diba? Enron had a so big company. So during the meeting, binigay na ng BIR yung tax deficiency niya, in-explain na kung paano nagkaroon ng mali ng ano, di ba? Yun yung inaano na Miss Sevilla kanina. In-explain na sa iyo eh. Okay. In this case, that does not substitute for the PAN. Okay? You need to have a separate PAN to explain why the taxpayer needs to pay. Hindi yan explanation, hindi yan basis. Okay. The other thing there is, after you file a protest, you need to submit your documents within 60 days. Diba? Yun yung sinasabi natin na for non-lawyers, it look like very technical siya. Diba? Pero, if you are enforcing the law, you are the law enforcer, you are the court, you need to follow these technicalities strictly. Diba? Like yung kay Attorney Akbayani, yung kay Dr. Akbayani, sabi sa kanya, 15 days, non-extendable. You need to submit your comment, opposition paper, or appellant's brief. Hindi nagsubmit yung lawyer niya. Ano gagawin ng judge? Dismiss. Diba? Dismiss. Same here. You have 60 days to submit your justification, relevant documents. You did not submit within 60 days, anong gagawin sa iyo ng court, ng BIR? Your protest will be denied. Denied. Okay? Now, the problem now is because of the Ondoy, Yolanda, Odette, these typhoons and flood, and then mga fire, maraming mga taxpayer ang hindi na kompleto yung mga dokumento. That's why it's very hard to justify. Recently, we had one case sa Chiang Kai-shek. Pinadalan kami ng BIR. 2012. 2012. Today, 2023 na. 2012 daw. Yung withholding tax daw namin, hindi namin nabayaran. Okay. E paano mo naman i-proof yung 2012? Record, di ba? We're only required to keep data for 5 years. But the BIR is talking about 2012. Okay. Sabi niya, hindi kami nagbayad. E paano na? Withholding tax ng mga empleyado daw, hindi namin nabayaran. So 2012, imagine mo yung penalty ng laki ng penalty. Sabi namin, wala na kaming record. Pero every year, we submit the alpha list of the employees with their corresponding tax payment. Hindi ka rin nag-comment nung at that time. Bakit ngayon after 10 years? Saka mo 11 years actually. Saka mo hahabulin sa akin. Paano ako kukuha ng proof? Even the bank, China Bank, said, we do not keep that long a record. O di paano na? Diba? So what if denied ka ng Commissioner Internal Revenue? Your appeal is to the Court of Tax Appeal. Ha? Hindi siya sa regular court. Ngayon, they created a special court called the Court of Tax Appeal. This is a recognition that lawyers do not understand tax well. Hindi lahat ng lawyer. Kaya pansin niyo, yung mga kaso ng mga tax na pinapabasa sa inyo, puro mga technicalities ang unconstitutional, due process, violation of the PAN rule. Walang question based on the tax. Okay? Any questions so far?